Hello YouTube, it's Exorcizzle. I know I said that there would be 3 parts to Fatal Frame 4, but I really don't know what else to talk about. If I think of anything super cool or important to add to that explanation series, I'll do a part 3, but currently I'm not really sure. If you have any suggestions though, let me know and I will try to cover them. Anyway, today we're going to move on to Fatal Frame 5 and discuss Mount Hikami's history. Mount Hikami, the setting of Fatal Frame 5, is known as the mountain crowned with the sun and the mountain of the sun god. This seems to be a reference to how hypnotizing the sunset over the mountain is. The mountain is heavily inspired by I'm going to try my hardest to pronounce this, I'm really sorry. Aokigahara Forest in Japan, also known as Suicide Forest. So you already know this is totally going to be a really happy game. As with all the other Fatal Frames, Mount Hikami had its own special religion, this time based on the mountain and the water flowing through it. The mountain itself was seen as an organism and the water was its blood. People believed everyone was born from the water and everyone will return to the water when they die. Basically, the water is the life force that flows through all of us. Because of this, no matter how you died, it didn't matter as long as you were in the water of Mount Hikami. Even suicide was considered a pure death in the water. There were shrine maidens on the mountain called the Maidens of Blackwater. I can't really find any requirements for becoming a maiden, but I think you do have to be ready to die sooner rather than later at least. After becoming maidens, the women would change their surname to Mikomori, probably because the shrine where they lived was right by Mikomori Pond, and Mikomori Pond is at the bottom of Mount Hikami where all the sacred water collects. They donned beautiful long kimonos, veils, and fancy headdresses. They also kept their hair and bodies wet at all times. They purified themselves in the pool of purification in the unfathomable forest and went through rigorous training so that they could glance into the souls of people who wanted to commit suicide, but didn't want to do it alone, or have it be an impure death. People who wanted to die would enter the shrine at the base of the mountain and pick out a maiden to accompany them up the mountain to a place with a lot of water, although I'm not sure which place. There are a lot of places where this could be. The maiden would then remove her veil and watch the person die, glancing into their secrets, sins, and emotions at their time of death. Weaker maidens had to make physical contact with people to glance them, but stronger ones could just look at people. After a while, the maiden would glance so many memories that her heart would become so full of emotions that she couldn't take it anymore. At this time, the maiden would use the boat of passage at the Shrine of the Ephemeral to journey to the Shrine on the Water, where they were put into a reliquary and sunk somewhere on the mountain to act as pillars to purify the ground and stop the black water from overflowing from the Shadow Spring. The more powerful the maiden, the closer to the summit of the mountain she would be submerged, and the most powerful maidens of all, the Great Pillars, would be sunk into the Shadow Spring itself. After being sunk, the maiden, now called an immortal flower, would be forced to relive all the pains and deaths she had seen, trapped in the rift between life and death, slowly being dissolved by the black water until she no longer existed. To help ease the pain and loneliness the maiden felt inside the box, bridegrooms were brought to the mountain to join the maidens in ghost marriage. The groom chose the maiden from a wall of the paintings of the women already in boxes and made a vow with her. Her spirit would come back for a little bit to test out the match. If it succeeded, the person would stay in the casket with her and they would dissolve together. Very romantic. If it failed, however, the person would be put into their own reliquary and placed in the Forbidden Valley, unmourned. Rest in peace. Sorry nobody cares about you. It's a sad, sad world, isn't it? So where does black water come into play? Well, it's this game's malice, darkness, or rift. It's the force that must be subjugated so that literal hell does not escape into the world of the living, in this case by putting psychic women into boxes and submerging them in hell water. The black water comes from the Shadow Spring, which is yet another doorway to the afterlife. We actually see a teeny bit into what the Shadow Spring looks like on the inside and Yuri's bad ending, and it seems like it's a giant pool of water that you can't get out of once you're in it. Sounds like hell to me. I hate water. The black water is pretty much the exact opposite of the pure water that the mountain worshipped. It could not overflow or the mountain would become tainted and the souls of the dead would distort into malevolent, shattered pieces of the people that they once were. This happens in other games too, but the soul distortion might be the strongest here on the mountain because of the 10-foot-tall woman. I hate this lady. She is terrifying. I have never actually even fought her. I've somehow avoided her every time I played the game because she is that scary to me. That's just my opinion though. There are definitely some other ghosts in the series that are definitely too crazy to have been real people at one point. They were definitely fucking tainted beyond belief. Anyway, that's why the maidens were sunk, to keep the black water from overflowing from the Shadow Spring or this game's entrance to the afterlife. The longer the maidens or immortal flowers lasted, the more they strengthened and preserved the mountain. More bang for your box, so they got them ghost married to whatever men they could find. The mountain would rumble when the Shadow Spring was getting a little hungry, kind of like the Hellish Abyss in the second game, and girls from all over the Mikomori region were brought in to start training to become maidens. The black water could also be appeased by purifying embers, the candles the character picks up throughout the game. They were originally made to ensure that the priests who worked with the black water would not be harmed by it. The candles were made with the forbidden flame, a sacred fire believed to defend against the black water. It was maintained by the flame keepers in the Hall of Fire and also used to light the many candles in the Shrine of the Ephemeral near the mountain summit. The black water would pass through here on its way down the mountain, purified by the flame. Although it may not have been to appease the Shadow Spring, people on the mountain also enshrined dolls in the place of people who had died, especially children, and at least 2 shrines were made for them all. These religious traditions continued on flawlessly until sometime in the mid to late 1800s, with the last great pillar being Ose. She was originally from a small village on the other side of another, I think, larger village named Katase at the base of Mount Hikami. She was the sole survivor of a massive flood, and it left her with an almost perfect sixth sense. This ability ultimately led to her becoming the next great pillar, which made the other Shrine Maidens very sad for some reason. It was a great honor, but still, you're gonna run away 1,000 times faster if you're placed directly into the Shadow Spring, so I'm pretty sure it doesn't sound like that good of a deal. I don't want to become the Great Pillar or an Immortal Flower, but if I had to choose, I would rather be a flower. As I mentioned in my video about Dr. Azo, he came to the mountain to take a photograph of Ose because the people in charge thought the photo would express Ose's soul more clearly than a traditional painting. Ose and Azo fell in love immediately, but they were only together for maybe a minute or 2 before Azo had to leave again. He was a very busy man. I'm not sure how many photos of Ose Dr. Azo took. The game only shows him snapping 1, but he takes one with him when he leaves the island, so what was left for her singles ad? I don't know. He came there to take the photo. What a scammer. Wow! Anyway, Ose was very saddened by him leaving, and she found herself wanting to live with him rather than enter the box and get ghost married to some random guy after she's pretty much already dead anyway. She never told anybody about this though, and she entered her reliquary willingly. To add fuel to Ose's sad fire, a weird man with an even weirder name, Kyozo Kururugi, started massacring everybody he could find on the mountain right as the lid to Ose's box closed. Sometime before going to the mountain, Kyozo found out about a man doing something very wrong to his sister Shino and became so furious that he murdered the man. Shino was extremely heartbroken, so she went to Mount Hikami to kill herself. She was accompanied by a maiden up to the hanging tree where the maiden watched her hang herself, glancing all of her memories. Kyozo found out about this and actually blamed the Shrine Maidens for her death, thinking they had lured her there somehow. No, you murdered her boyfriend? Then again, we don't know why he did it, and there are, unfortunately, some instances where I would probably murder for my sisters, too. I love them too much. Anyway, he went to Mount Hikami because he, too, wanted to die, but right as he was about to be glanced, he freaked out, thinking about all his sins and secrets being revealed, and ran away before the maiden could look or touch him. Kyozo resolved to kill every single shrine maiden on the mountain, covering his body in sacred writing. Once again, very similar to Hoichi the Earless. It appears that a lot of Fatal Frame ghosts are actually inspired by him, including the Veiled Priests from Fatal Frame 2. I'll include a link to the Wikipedia page for Hoichi the Earless down below if you're interested. It's a pretty interesting story. When Kyozo returned to the mountain, he first killed the Shrine Maidens, afterwards gouging their eyes out so they could no longer glance into his soul. He then cut off the heads of the flame keepers that tended the forbidden flame. Can't leave any religious figures left. He killed whoever else he could find too. He didn't really care. After he deemed himself done, Kururugi returned to the pool of purification where he set himself on fire and slit his own throat. God bless. While in the box, all of the feelings of the Shrine Maidens that were murdered flooded to Ose, and combined with her longing for Azo, she couldn't take it. Her ritual failed, black water spilling out from inside her box. Her body floated out and into the Shadow Spring. Her soul was tainted, turning her into an evil ghost that just wanted somebody to take on her memories and understand her. Very sad. During Kururugi's massacre, 1 or 2 of the Shrine Maidens fled the mountain to safety and went on to start a family line branching down to both Rei from the 3rd game and Hisoka, Yuri's mentor/boss, although we don't know exactly how they're related. We do know that they are 18 years apart, so that's cool. And I would love to continue this video, but it is getting way too long. I am sorry. If you'd like to see the next part or any other Fatal Frame explanation videos I make, subscribe so you don't miss them. I don't have an exact uploading schedule, but if you subscribe, you don't have to keep coming back and checking. Not that you even do that, probably. You're busy, right? If you don't have a life, that's okay. I don't have a life either. I don't know what I'm rambling about. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like so it shows up in the YouTube search engine more often, and leave me a comment if you want to talk about anything. Also, if you have suggestions for future videos, please let me know. I will unfortunately run out of useful stuff to talk about Fatal Frame-wise eventually, so let me know what I should do next, so I'm not just talking about nothing. Thank you for watching, and remember...
You'll be